Let's do question 5. Question 5 got? All of you had the paper with you? Okay. If you look at it, highlight. You have a highlighter, highlight. If you have a ruler or what, you use your ruler to underline. Okay. Tangerine was successful in a tender and was engaged to construct a multi-story shopping mall on a hilltop for Prestige Shopping Center. Prestige. In the course of construction, Prestige was engaged in a dispute with Cider, the owner of the land below the hilltop development. Highlight, please. Tangerine, highlight Tangerine, successful in tender, engaged to construct multi-story shopping mall on a hilltop for Prestige. So that means Prestige, you can take him as the developer or whatever. In the course of the construction, Prestige was engaged in a dispute with Cider. Who is Cider? Cider is the owner of the land, which is below the hilltop development. Cider claimed that Tangerine's construction work had damaged his land and that hilltop development was dangerous. Highlight. Cider has gathered his neighbors and other residents and initiated highlight an online signature campaign and that has garnered over 1,000 signatures to oppose and to stop the construction of the shopping mall. Okay, take note, he has initiated an online signature campaign that has over 1,000 signatures to oppose the construction of the shopping mall. With the online signature, Cider has demanded action by the local authority to issue a stop work order. So, by having this online signature, what he did, he asked the local authority to issue a stop work order. So, the local authority covered a meeting with Cider. At the meeting, the local authority explained that they approved the hilltop development after Prestige's expert suggested in their report that the development was reasonably safe and declined Cider's request for stop work order. Okay, please highlight. Please highlight that part. Prestige experts suggested in their report that the development was reasonably safe and declined Cider's request for a stop work order. Cider, being dissatisfied, has commenced a legal action against Prestige to stop the construction work on the shopping mall. Tangerine, in an email to Cider, marked without prejudice, please highlight, Tangerine in an email to Cider, marked without prejudice, agreed with Cider's concern and offered to repair the damage caused to his land should he withdraw his legal action. Highlight the whole line. At the trial, during Cider's counsel cross-examination of Hugo, Tangerine's engineer, Hugo confirmed that Prestige experts' report stated that the hilltop construction must be carried out with several safety measures. Okay, Prestige did not tender the expert report at the trial. Please highlight, Prestige did not tender the expert report at the trial. Okay. You look at it, this is the flow, roughly. Okay. Can you see? If you want to write, you can write it down. Prestige shopping. Okay. Can you all see? Can? Okay. Prestige shopping, Tangerine. Up to you. I just use construct or develop. Up to you, whatever you want to build or whatever you want to put. Tangerine, build, shopping mall. This is the mall, Prestige shopping. Okay. This one is the developer. Cider is the landowner. I summarized this whole story in this way. Up to you. Don't want to draw, it's okay. If you understand the story, no issue. Okay, in simple term, Tangerine is the developer. He built a shopping mall for this party. Okay, Cider is the landowner. Simple as that. Cider is dissatisfied. So now Cider is issuing a summon or initiating an action in court against Prestige. Cider versus Prestige to stop the construction. Why? Because Cider is telling it is not safe. Okay, so you can see all these, whatever that I have mentioned, you can see here, where is it? Cider being dissatisfied has commenced legal action against Prestige to stop construction work on the shopping mall. That is why, because he went to the local authority said nothing wrong, so I will not issue the stop work order. Since he said he will not issue the stop work order, so I cannot do anything. What I will issue a summon in court, Cider versus Prestige. So if you look at this, question A, B, C, D. Okay, let me teach you all. My class students, they will know. You can see here 8 marks, right? 8 marks, 5 marks, 5 marks. 2, 5, then 7. Total 25 marks. 8 marks question doesn't mean you write for 2 page. If you write for 2 page, they will fail you. Simple as that. Answer the question. Please answer the question. 8 marks question can also be 1 paragraph. And the answer for an 8 marks question can be 1 paragraph. The answer for 8 marks question can be 2 paragraph. It depends on what they are asking. It is not necessarily for you just because it is stated over the 8 marks, you're going to put a 2-page answer. This is not your LLB. No. Okay. CLP, you must think like a lawyer, answer direct on point. What they want, answer direct, answer on point. Okay. So you look at the first question, whether he could tender Tangerine's email at the trial. Okay. Refresh. Go back to your page. This line is not asked you to underline, right? Tangerine in an email to Cider marked without prejudice agreed with Cider's concern and offered to repair the damage caused to his land should he withdraw his legal action. Correct? Okay. What they want to tender? Cider wants to tender what? The suit is between Cider versus Prestige. Correct? If he tender this email, what will happen? That email will be for the benefit, in simple terms, for the benefit of Cider. Correct? Because Cider is the one who's telling what all this while that the construction is not safe, not safe, not safe. True, no? So, if this email can be tendered, okay, if can be tendered in court, it will be beneficial for Cider. Correct? Why? Because in that email, what's his name? Tangerine agreed with Cider's concern and offered to repair the damage caused to his land should Cider withdraw the legal action. Correct? So, the first question when you want to answer this kind of whether he means Cider could tender Tangerine's email at the trial. How are you supposed to answer a question like this? First, you must say, answer the issue, what they are asking. They are asking tendering of the email, correct? Whether the email can be, answer the question only. Don't talk grandmother, grandfather story. They got no time, they don't want to know. Okay? So, based on the question, address the issue. Based on the question, the question requires to advise Cider as to whether he could tender Tangerine's email at the trial. That is the issue. Correct? That is the issue. I'm just giving you one way how to do it. You can do it any way, but your first line, tell your examiner, this is the issue. This is what you all are asking me. My flow is going to follow this way. Pop, pop, pop. Item 1, item 2, item 3, item 4. You make it easier for them to give you the marks. So when you already identify pointer 1, this is the issue. The issue is, number 1, issue is to tender Tangerine's email in court. That is the issue. So you must put based on the facts. What is it? You put the issue. Okay. Second issue, you have to determine why I want to tender that email. Cider wants to tender the email because that email is relevant to the fact in issue, which is to stop the construction, correct? So why I want to tender the email will be relevant, may be relevant to the fact in issue. So if it is relevant, you have to go under the relevancy provision, correct? Relevancy provision can be found under section 5 to 55 of your Evidence Act. But we just follow LPQB. Yeah? So if you go under LPQB's guideline, if you look at relevancy part, what they say? Section 5 to section 15. Of course, there is more. There is more to it, I know. But just for the purposes of your exam only, you just tell me under which provision of the law, under 5 to, sorry, what section is that? Under 15. Under 5 to 15, which one you can admit the email. Okay. The most relevant one, what I think, is section 9, where the email is relevant to support the fact in issue, i.e. to stop the work. Correct? So you can say on the facts, the email will be relevant under section 9 of the Evidence Act 1950. Okay. Why? Because if the email is admissible, or if it can be tendered in admissible and can be tendered in court, it will be relevant under section 9 to support the fact in issue. Okay? Can? Okay. What students always confused is that section 9, you have 5 linked to it. Okay. It's not only on your identity. It's not only on your identity. Whenever you all read section 9, I realize students are reading it in isolation. That means you look at it only as identification evidence, only under identification parade. No, there is 5 point or 5 limbs under your section 9. How many of you not aware? Camera on one, the student. How many of you are not aware section 9 got 5 limbs to it? All of you are aware? Oh, not aware. Okay. Open your section 9 now. Highlight now. Just highlight now. Highlight now. Dewa. Okay, number 1. To explain or to introduce. That is your first one. That means if you want to admit a piece of evidence, it will be relevant to explain or to introduce a fact in issue or relevant fact. That is your number 1. Number 2 is to support or rebut an inference. Okay? My one, I'm using number 2 to support. That means if I admit the email, it will be relevant under section 9 to support. Okay, that is your number 2. Number 3 is your identity. Can you see? To establish the identity of any things. There's 2 parts, any things and person. Person is where we always use identity of the person. Things we rarely use, but it is there. It is there. So you take into account. The third one is things or person. Okay. The fourth one, section 9, will be relevant to fix time and place. Okay, the fourth one, section 9, will be relevant to fix time and place. This time and place, normally if you see in your relevancy question, they will give you a 25 marks question. Then they will give you the time, the date, the place, and so on. At that point of time, okay, you can use time or place. Okay, can. Then your last one is to show the relationship between the parties. Can you see? To show the relationship between the parties. So what type of, same thing also during in a relevancy question, most of the time, 70% of the time in a relevancy question, they will give you a question where the parties are not having a good relationship. So you use section 9 to say that this piece of evidence is relevant under section 9 to show that the parties are having a bad relationship. Understand? So these are the 5 elements under section 9. Can. Okay. Why you join, Vivian? Don't want to do your criminal.
Kugan invite me.
Huh?
Kugan invite me.
Okay. Okay. Can. Where is Deva? Okay. Can, The rest of you got it? Can? Okay, there are 5 elements to section 9. Okay. Where did I stop? Whether he could.
They are filing.
Where is
They
it?
are filing and they are filing, and then they are the question is relevant under section 9.
Question is relevant under section 9 to support the fact in issue. Correct? Okay. Next. Since it is relevant, we have established the relevancy part is already relevant under section 9. Now we go to the question. What is the issue here? Tangerine in an email to Cider marked without prejudice agreed with Cider's concern and offered to repair the damage caused to his land should he withdraw his legal action. Correct? So what is the issue here? Before the without prejudice. I know first issue, let's say another issue will be without prejudice. The fourth issue is without prejudice. All of you can detect this is the without prejudice issue, correct? Before that, can you see the word agreed? Can you see? So that means this guy, tangerine guy, means this for this fella is agreeing, okay, he's agreeing to the other party and telling what? Yes, I agree with you. There will be some form of an issue to the land. I will offer to repair whatever there was, offer to repair the damage that was caused to the land, provided you withdraw the legal action. Correct? There is an what? What's the word there?
Admission.
Admission, correct. There is an admission. Admission is relevant under section. Admission is relevant under section 21 of the Evidence Act. Correct. So if you look at it, you must understand, 17 is your definition provision. Don't make a mistake. Open your Evidence Act. Go to section 17. Admission and confession, that one all is your definition provision. Okay, section 17 is your definition provision. Your 21 is your admissibility provision. Remember, there's not one of the students said admission is relevant. So when it's relevant, it is admissible. Correct? So generally, as a general rule, if you look at the sentence itself, that email is relevant under section 9. There is also a form of admission, which is also relevant under section 21. Correct what the email have mentioned. The relevancy part 21, not 18. Sorry, not 17. Some of you want to put 18. You say this fella is the agent. All that can. That one all extra up to you. I won't go into that extra. What must put inside your exam paper, that's what I'm going to give you. Anything extra up to you. You understand? Because no time. Like I told you just now, we have no time. We just have to put the issues, then we move on. Okay? So please take note, don't make a mistake. Don't put 17 as your admissibility. No. 17 is the definition section. Don't make a mistake. 18 is the agent and all. That means the admission can be relevant. 21 is your admissibility provision. 21 is your admissibility provision. So this is the first part which we have mentioned. You have agreed there's an admission which is relevant under section 21. Okay, admission is relevant, good, so it is admissible. However, there's one big issue over here. The issue is without prejudice, correct? The email that was sent, there is a notation over here stated without prejudice. Example, is an email, there's an email stated without prejudice. Now you go into your law of without prejudice, which is under your case of Malayan banking, section 23, correct? Am I right? I hope all of us are having the same case, Malayan banking versus full Simoy, section 23, correct? Section 23, which states that what is a without prejudice label? A without prejudice term. A without prejudice term basically where both parties are negotiating with each other for a settlement. So you use without prejudice in order for you to settle. So that you will not be, why you use this label? Because you will not be scared or you will not be afraid later they will use this email against you in court. Correct? But there is requirement for you to satisfy. What is, you must put in your case of Malayan banking. What is the requirement to be satisfied? If I want to invoke without prejudice, correct? If I want to invoke without prejudice, there must be two conditions I have to satisfy, which can be found in the case of Malayan banking. The rationale is that it's a public policy of encouraging litigants to settle their differences to ensure that rather than to litigate them to finish. Okay, that is the rationale. But what is the requirement before you can invoke the without prejudice rule? Look, it's under your section 23 and also the case of lien banking. There is an express condition that evidence of it not to be given, and all under circumstances from which the court can infer that party had such an intention that evidence of it is not to be given. Your lien banking added on, there must be some form of negotiation between the parties to form a settlement. Then you can rely on this without prejudice thing. You must get that part clear. So, after explaining all these laws, section 23, Malayan banking, and all that, this is your law, correct or not? This is your law. Now, your application. Apply on the facts. Based on the facts, it appears that the email that is marked without prejudice by Sider, can it fall under section 23 or cannot? Can it fall under section 23 or cannot? Okay.
It can.
Can, okay. If you look at it, the part over here, there's an email, okay? That email was marked without prejudice, sent to the other side. Is there any form of reply? Let's say I'm sending you an email, correct? I'm sending you an email, I'm telling you, see, I agree with you, okay? Please withdraw your action. I will redo whatever I'm required to do. I will rectify the damage and so on, or repair. You agree or you never agree? Never. Look at the next line. Nothing already, but they never mention anything. They never say the further reply to the letter, or they never say he asking time to think, or whatever. Nothing. They just went to the next line already. There's no any form of negotiation between the parties. If you all have Malayan banking with you, please highlight Malayan banking. Now, if you have lien banking, that you can see the individual must be in dispute, which led them to negotiate with one another, and the communication between the parties must contain suggested terms that would finally lead them to a settlement of the dispute. If you want to use section 23, i.e., which is commonly known as your without prejudice rule, then you have to satisfy these two requirements. Plus your section 23, I mean your lien banking already endorsed this thing already. But here on the facts here, you don't have this, correct? There's only one-way communication. There's only one-way communication. Means I'm writing a letter to you to tell you, see, this is my view. If you are agreeable to it, or if you want to negotiate terms with me, then you should have replied. But don't assume on the facts, you don't have anything, right? So don't assume there will be like this. No, that is not your work. That one later you do in court. Here, now on the facts here, you have nothing. Correct? Because the next line is, at the trial, during Sider's counsel cross-examination of Hugo, Tangerine's engineer, Hugo confirmed blah, 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 went on ready. Correct? There's nothing from the part of the email, nothing else left. So I will take the view that here the term without prejudice is merely used as a label only. There is no form of genuineness to reach a settlement. That's what I will say. I'm not sure how many of you have this case of do you have the case of Fraser Securities with you? Anyone here? Do you have the case of Fraser Security with you? Okay, if you don't have, you take this down. Fraser Fraser Securities Securities Sindran Berhad versus POH Gig GAIK LYE 2005 case, where there is already a binding agreement between the parties, the content of the document, or communication, the content of the documents of communication made without prejudice, the term without prejudice put in inverted comma, are certainly admissible if it is clear from the evidence, there is no intention, to negotiate a settlement. Of the dispute. Okay, so using this, I will say that actually you can use other cases also. You can use million banking, you can also use other, I'm sure you all are having the cases, maybe just different from my cases. You can use other cases to tell just by, in simple term, just by having this without prejudice label, okay, you cannot tell all the documents are inadmissible. There must be genuine intention to settle the matter. So the without prejudice label can be lifted if there is no any form of settlement or there's no form of negotiation for settlement between the parties. You can, I'm sure you have the cases, the Rush and Tompkins, that bits, you will definitely have all these cases over there. Okay, I have used phrases security. Don't want to use, no problem. You use whatever that you have at this point of time. Okay, so my answer, in conclusion, the email will be admissible. Why admissible? Because for me, I look at it as there's no any form of negotiation between party or whatsoever. Since there is no form of negotiation, just by you putting the without prejudice label over there, you cannot tell me that I cannot admit. I will admit the email. Because if I wanted, the other side will negotiate, but there is no negotiation. Otherwise, everything without prejudice, nothing can be ended in court. Okay? I will add on one more line. You can see based on the evidence here. At the trial, after that line, after the should you withdraw his legal action, at the trial, during cross-examination, Sider's counsel cross-examined Hugo, his first engineer, Engineering's engineer. Hugo confirmed that Prestige expert report stated that hilltop construction must be carried out with several safety measures. Correct? Okay, just that part alone, if you want, you can put. You don't want, it's okay. You can also add on, furthermore, it should be noted during cross-examination, Hugo himself has made a confirmation that Prestige expert report stated that hilltop construction must be carried out with several safety measures. That means there is some form of issues in the development. So this is relevant under Hugo's evidence, is relevant under section 9. If you want to add. If you don't want to add, you just leave it as per here. No issue. You just leave it as per here. But don't forget one more issue, your email. Correct? All this is an email thing, right? Okay. Here you already say the email will be admissible. Correct? How to admit? Email admit. You first hurdle done ready. So how to admit email? Okay. Some of you, what you do, you go through your whole 90A, you go through your whole whatever other 90A lah. The most of the time 90A only. But actually you have case law like Petroleum National already clear cut tell you that email are admissible evidence. So if I'm doing the paper, I will not go through the 90A. Why? Because I only have 8 marks. First thing. Second thing, they want you to answer this part, the without prejudice thing. That's why they ask you that. So you have answered this. This one will give you roughly about 2 paragraphs. You have answered that. If you want to go through 90A element once again, you want to go through 90A, then the answer will be too long, which is unnecessary because you don't have time. You don't have time. You must understand that. So since case law have recognized email are admissible evidence, use the case law to admit. Say, do you all have that case? Mok yik chik. Mok yik chik. Do you have? The rest of you, my students, I know they are having it. The rest of you, do you have it? Mok yik chik? No, okay. M-O-K, think so, correct spelling lah. Correct, Vivian. M-O-K-Y-I-K-C-H-I-K. Correct?
I-I-I-K.
Okay. M-O-K. Let me just send in the group. M-O-K-Y-I-K-C-H-I-K. Mok yik chik.
Miss Y-I-I-C-H-E-K.
Oh, Y-I-I-C-H-E-K versus SOVA.
Yes, so
S-O-V-O.
yes.
Okay. I don't, if you all, Vivian or Nicole or Kugan, if you have the case in full, you please send lah. I cannot find. Okay. Petroleum National case, you can get from Marriott Peter's book. Okay. I'm not sure how many of you know Marriott Peter. Marriott Peter is now the High Court judge. In her book, she have this thing. Petroleum National, which admits, okay, email. You use one case enough already. Panir Selvam also you can use, but Panir Selvam is WhatsApp. What you must understand is that all this, whether it is WhatsApp, whether it is email or whatever is it, it falls under electronic document, correct? Electronic. So you use whatever case also, doesn't matter. But this mock check is already in your LPQB syllabus. It's already in your LPQB syllabus. So that is why I say might as well you just use mock check and tell the examiner the email is admissible. Don't go under 98 to prove unless you have the time. Okay, so this will be your full. I normally don't give full answer. You can ask my students. They have to write a full answer. This is the structure. So item 1, item 2, item 3, item 4, item 5, conclusion. Okay, I need to tell this. Another reason why students don't get through for all, I'm talking for the 5 paper also, because you are giving the law, which is your section 21, section 23, section 9, all that you know, but you don't apply. You tell the examiner you apply lah. You don't apply. You don't address the question. You must use the law to apply. Apply to the facts that has been given. First thing. Second thing, no conclusion. You don't conclude. You leave your answer hanging. You tell the examiner, okay, up to this, okay, apply ready. You decide like what is the conclusion. Admissible, not admissible. You cannot do that. You cannot do that. You must imagine yourself as a lawyer. If you're going to court, if you're submitting, right, you need to give a conclusion to the judge. Correct? Same thing. You must have a conclusion. Right or wrong doesn't matter, but you must give a conclusion. Your conclusion must be based on the facts that you have elaborated, you have stated earlier. You get it. Your friend can give admissible. You can give inadmissible. Doesn't matter how you argue. Doesn't matter. That's why I tell you, doesn't matter how you argue. So there is no such thing as only one answer. But sometimes, yes. Some question, yes. Memang straightforward. It is one answer, one answer. That one you cannot argue. That one you cannot say, oh, like this, no. If there's a case like this, like mock check, which says that admissible, then it is admissible. You cannot say email is not admissible, blah, 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 can. Okay, so for this, you must start somewhere. Email, WhatsApp normally will come out. If WhatsApp, you use the case of Panir Selvam. Email, you can use this case lah if you want mock check. Okay, these are the way how you can answer. Okay, let's go to item number 2. Okay, let's go to item number 2. How could he is either admit the online signature? How could he admit the online signature that he managed to garner in the campaign at the trial? Look at the question. They're asking you, highlight the word how Cider is going to admit the online signature. Correct? Okay. This is something new for you all, but no issue. Okay, online signature, I believe like whatever forms that you use to sign online. So what they're asking, how to admit this signature. Just take it as signature. Don't overthink whether they use the word electronic signature, e-signature, online signature. Just take it as the same. Because why? You have no access to you have no other access, correct? Your answer will be 90A like that only. Use what you know. Don't overthink. Oh, online signature is different. Digital signature is different. E-signature is different. No, actually all the same. Okay? Just that I don't know, some of you may know the Electronic Commerce Act, some of you may not know the Electronic Commerce Act. Let's say we take it as you don't know. Contoh, we take it as you don't. I'll give you the proper answer. But let's say you are doing this for your exam. You don't know. Okay? When you don't know what you do, what you have in your hand, now you have to go on the issue of relevancy. Correct? Is the online signature relevant? Yes, relevant. Correct? Relevant, right? As either you want to tender the online signature. Is the online signature relevant? Okay, yes, relevant. Relevant under which section? Relevant under which section? Okay, let's look at the question again. Online signature for what? He initiated an online signature campaign that has garnered over 1,000 signatures. What to do? To oppose and to stop the construction of the shopping mall. So this signature is important to admit. Why? You can show the court, you can tell the judge that see, so many people is dissatisfied with the construction because it is not safe. So we have so many residents over there who is against this development. Correct? So once again, is the online signature relevant? Yes, relevant. Relevant under which provision? Now you all try. Relevant under which provision? Anything, it's okay. Any provision which you can see that is that you think can fit. You have section 6, you have section 7. Section 7 is your cause, effect, opportunity. Section 8, your motive, preparation, conduct, subsequent and before, prior and subsequent conduct. You have section 9, the 5 elements, that's the thing I show you. You have section 10, not so important. You have section 11. You have section 12, section 13, section 14, section 15. So what this online signature, if you want to bring in, it will be relevant under which section?
Section 9,
Section 9 to do what?
to support the fact that it's it's
Support?
unsafe.
Correct. To support the fact in issue, which is to stop. Correct? You can use section 9, no problem. Anyone else, anything? For me, I think no need really lah. Because why? Question is asking how to admit. Correct? You choose one proper provision like the girl A may I have mentioned. Enough already. Just tell your examiner the online signature is relevant under section 9 to support the fact in issue, i.e. to stop the construction work. Okay. Then discuss. How are you going to admit? Correct? The other side, of course, will object. But Prestige will object, right? Why he want to allow you to admit that 1,000 signature? So if he object, okay, if he object, or he will definitely object, how are you going to admit? Just use what you know. No need to go through so much. No need to go through other things. I'll give you later the full answer. But how are you going to admit? You must show proof that the online signature is genuine, correct? How are you going to show proof? Section 90A. Right, your section 90A is your computer produced evidence. You use this under 1 to 6 to admit the evidence. But however, today, recently, we must use the case of Datuk Kanagalingam, where in this case, they have made it clear that under section 90A subsection 6, the judge can use their discretion. If provision 1 to 5 cannot be satisfied, the judge can use its discretion looking at the surrounding circumstances and admit the document. The only concern under section 90A subsection 6, the judge must ensure that the document, i.e. on our facts here is the online signature, it must be genuine and authentic. That means there's no form of fabrication or they never tamper with the thing whatsoever. Okay, that's the only consideration. It's in your case of Dato' Kanagalingam. Court of Appeal case 2020. What? Vivian, 2021.
Yes.
Do you all have this case, Dato' Kanagalingam with you all? How many of you don't have the case? Other than my student, how many of you don't have the case? Please, you don't have the case, the girls or someone to send to you all in the group. How many of you don't have? Camera on really? Okay. Yeah, I highlighted really, only read the highlighted part. Only the highlighted one is important. Okay, the first part is on the disciplinary proceeding. You don't have to know. I mean, maybe important for your PP paper, but for your evidence paper, not important. Only the part where I mentioned. Okay, so you go through 90A 1 to 6 and you must quote this case. Must. Okay, because this case is in your guide. You must quote. Now, if you're answering question now, and as in the exam, this case you must know. Plus your case of Paneerselvam, you must know. Must. Okay? But Paneerselvam, if you don't use for this question, it is fine. But for other question, you must know the case of Paneerselvam. Must. Okay? Alright. This is how you answer. So you say, once again, conclusion based on the facts. If the above requirement and the case of Dato' Kanagalingam is satisfied, the online signature will be admissible. Must have conclusion. You cannot run that I don't want to put your conclusion. So when you are doing an answer, make sure you have this law with you. BILAC. If you use this, very easy. You will not make a mistake. Brief facts. B is brief facts. I is issue. L is law, A is application, C is conclusion. Okay, I repeat. B is brief facts, I is issue, L is law, A is application, C is conclusion. Okay, this is how you can draft your answer. If you use this way, there's a very minimal chance for error. You know why? Because you are telling your examiner, see, this is the brief facts. Normally, I skip this. I don't want because for me, no time. So I skip this. Okay, no problem. You want to skip this? Skip. I directly go to the issue. Okay? I directly go to the issue. I tell the examiner, you see, this is the issue. I use the law. Like this now, section 21, 22, 23 and all. I use the law. Application, you use your facts. Application is your facts. Right? How you apply the facts to the law. That is your application. Okay? And lastly, you must give your conclusion. Full. You cannot definitely, as I tell you, very minimal chance for mistake because you are telling everything really. Unless you only will make an error here unless you identify the wrong provision. If they are asking for section 73A, you won't quote 90A, of course wrong lah. That means that one law sangkut. Understand? That one is law sangkut. But you must also know there is a structure of answering. This is one of the structure. It's simple structure. Okay, this is a simple structure for you to answer your paper. Okay, this is one way. Okay, next, so this is how you answer your online signature. But today I'm giving you this answer. You can take it down. Electronic signature is recognized in court is recognized in court. Provided the guidelines in Electronic Commerce Act, provided the guidelines in Electronic Commerce Act 2006 are satisfied. Just put a dash or IE. The reliability test, or under the Digital Signature Act 1997, or under the Digital Signature Act 1997. In simple terms, electronic signature is recognized in court provided you satisfy the reliability test or the test in your Digital Signature Act 1997. You don't have to know what is it lah. Okay. The next line, online signature slash digital signature, online signature slash digital signature holds the same weight as handwriting signature. As handwritten signature. Online signature or digital signature holds the same weight as handwritten signature. You may want to exclude the rest and just take the last line in your answer also enough. That means online signature, digital signature holds the same weight as handwritten signature. That means what I'm trying to tell is you don't want the rest. You say now I got not enough time, I don't want to memorize. Also can. You use this answer, you use the last line I gave you, online signature holds the same weight as a handwritten signature, and you give this case, it's a 2024 case, take note, REE ZAL space JAI space JAI space RIHAN space bin bin space Abdullah ABDULLAH versus DANESH DANESH. Anak lelaki SIVADAS. Okay, I repeat, REE ZAL JAI RIHAN bin Abdullah ABDULLAH versus DANESH anak lelaki SIVADAS 2024. Okay, that means your online
Sorry, Miss Lishani, is it
What?
Rizal Jairihan, is it?
Rizal J. Rihan, correct. Yeah.
Alright.
Bin Abdullah, anak lelaki, Danish, anak lelaki, Sivadas. Okay. So you can use this online signature, that last part I've given you all, and your 90A, also same, up to you. Because you must understand you have no time. Okay? You have no time. You must always understand one thing. You can memorize whatever you want to memorize. End of the day is the time. Time factor very important. So I'm not someone who can write very fast. You know that, right? I cannot write very fast. Then try to minimize your answer, but tell your examiner you know what you're supposed to do. Some students, they can write very fast because I do have mock exam, or they can write everything, whatever I mentioned, everything is there within 38 minutes. Good for them. So you need to know how your thing is, what type of a person you are. If you think no, I cannot, so minimize like this, 9, 98, 1 to 6. This one you don't have to worry, it's in your statute book. But that doesn't mean that inside your statute book means I don't bother, I just don't care, I just copy from the statute book. Hey, you are here also, no court today, chief.
God, just finished, miss.
Oh, okay. Alright.
Ah.
Okay. Where did I stop? Okay, 1 to 6. You cannot copy. 1 to 6, you cannot copy. You must know first. After you know only, you can include. If you copy bulat-bulat, that's a recipe to disaster lah. Cannot. Okay? You must know what is 1 to 6. You must know. How am I supposed to set this? By now, you should know. Okay? By now, you should know how to identify. If you don't know, it's okay. What you can do after class, open the textbook, go to section 98. Go to section 98 now. I give you simple, huh? No need to know 1 to 6. You just take section 1, 90A sub 1, 90A sub 2, okay, 90A sub 3, 90A sub 5, 90A sub 6. Finish. Forget about your 4, forget about your 5. Okay? Sorry, forget about your 4, forget about your 3. Even your number 3B, no need 3A and afraid. Just know the 90A1, 90A2, 90A3. If you want to put can, don't want, it's okay. 90A5, 90A6. No means not copy, no guys. Please don't copy bulat. You must know how are you going to tender this document. You must know why we use 90A, how to tender. You must go through it. Must. Okay? Must, please. If still you cannot, then you message me lah. Okay, because I don't want to waste time going through, otherwise cannot finish the rest of the question. Then, alright? Okay, item number 3. Without calling any person from the local authority, whether Sider could admit the minutes of meeting with the local authority at the trial. What is the question asking? That means without calling anyone from the local authority, can Sider admit the minutes of meeting with the local authority at the trial? Okay. In order for you to admit the minutes of meeting, you must understand it should be under public document. Please start this question. Please start. Because very long they never ask. Suddenly it's here. Okay. Please start. So you can only admit if it's under public document. So I'm not sure whether how many of you have this case in hand. It's a 2025 case. It's in your LPQB book, Muhammad Sobri bin Cik Hassan. How many of you have this case? A 2025 case. You have that. Google will have lah, of course. The rest of you, not my class one, not my class. The rest of you, those who are not my class. If you don't have, I will read out the case now. Please take it down. Okay, MOHD, SOB, space, MOHD, space, SOBRI, space, bin, space, CHE, MOHD, space, SOBRI, space, BIN, space, CHE, space, Hassan, HASSAN, okay, versus pihak berkuasa tata tertib, Majlis Perbandaran Seberang Perai. Muhammad Sobri bin Cik Hassan versus pihak berkuasa tata tertib Majlis Perbandaran Seberang Perai 2025 case, 2025 case. Okay, take it down. It was held in this case that any local authority, minutes of meeting is a public document. So if you have this case, you also have other case in your book. I'm sure you have other case in your book. Why I'm giving you this case? Because it is there in your guide. So I just follow your guide and take it down. Okay, so if you have this case, you see 5 marks answer only, no. Don't write so much, no need. The question is asking you, without calling any person from the local authority, whether he could admit the minutes of meeting. You have this case, the case is there, use this case. Or if you have other case, also up to you, you can choose. You just say based on this, since it is a public document, public can view the document, there's no any form of official secret. The minutes of meeting can be tendered without calling the local authority. If you want to add on 76, up to you, where Sider can obtain a certified true copy of the minutes of meeting, also can. Section 77, a certified true copy is admissible without requiring the attendance of the local authority. Take note, Section 76, Sider can obtain a CTC copy. Section 77, it states that a CTC copy is admissible without requiring attendance of the local authority. Simple as that. 5 marks, just answer the question. Don't forget your conclusion. So, based on the in conclusion, the minutes of meeting is admissible at the trial without the attendance of the local authority. See, question 5 marks also, you need to have your conclusion. You need to tell your examiner that this is the answer, this one I have applied, this is the conclusion. You need to sum up. You need to tell them that I have done this. This is my conclusion. You cannot leave your answer hanging and tell them, nah, take it lah. You choose lah. Whichever is it. I have given you everything. You choose. Cannot. This irritates them, You cannot do that. You have to give a conclusion. So you need to make sure whatever answers that you all have written now, please check in your own answer whether you have a conclusion, whether you have application. You all will have the law. I'm not worried about the law. I'm sure you have the law with you because you all have all other materials to help you. But always you will miss at the point of application and your conclusion because you don't know how to relate to the facts. Because memorize what? Correct? All memorize answer. No application. Correct? So you must learn this. You need to see all the 5 paper across. I'm telling you, not only evidence and civil or CPC or whatever like that. All the 5 papers, you must ensure you have your application on the facts. GP not too bad because GP memang you taking from the facts and putting. Correct or not? But the rest of the paper, you must ensure you have these 2. Okay? You must ensure that you have these 2 inside. Okay? Alright? You all got the case? Anyone miss the case? Anyone miss the case? No? Okay. Subsection D. The consequence of Prestige's failure to produce the expert report at the trial. Who's Prestige? Okay. Expert report, correct? The question is asking you what is the consequence of Prestige's failure to produce the expert report at the trial? What area of law is this? Very simple, this one. Which area? The report belongs to who? Prestige, correct? Prestige must tender or no need to tender? His report, right? If you never tender, the issue here is whether adverse inference can be drawn against Prestige. for failure to tender the expert report. But take note, don't jump and tell can, because you must understand this is a civil case. Correct? This is a civil case. Criminal case is different, civil case is different. Okay. Since this is a civil case, normally the burden of proof is on the plaintiff. Correct? Only when there is burden on the defendant, then the failure to tender the report will amount to adverse inference. So here, you think about it whether 114 illustration G can be invoked against this fella. So if you look at answer, 7 marks, right? So you have to tell as a general rule first state the issue first. What is the question asking? Tell the issue. Then you say as a general rule, in a civil case, adverse inference cannot be drawn against the defendant. You tell that first. Why? Because there is no burden of proof on the defendant. You use whatever case you want to use. You can use Serva Dure, you can use Joadius, Aikon, and whatever. Then you contrast. However, I use the case of Chan Yok Lane and Dato Abdullah Hishan versus something Shukla. I don't have the full case here. Okay, Chan Yok Lane and Dato Abdullah Hishan, and tell that if there is a burden, okay, if there is a burden to prove a particular fact by the defendant and the defendant failed to produce the said document, then adverse inference can be invoked against the defendant. You need to put that. Okay, so applying this is 7 marks, right? 7 marks in this question. So does it mean that 7 marks I write 1 whole page or 2 page? No, I'm just answer the question. So in order for you to answer the question, you must know the law. So for you to know the law, you must know the issue. It's all connected. So the issue is what? Adverse inference, correct? The issue is adverse inference. But take note, it is a civil case. So civil case, how it works, we need to take note of that. This 114G, guys, I need to tell you, this one you must prepare essay, you know. You must prepare essay. You know why? This question is always there. 114, okay, one more thing, it's not 114G. It is 114 illustration G. Okay, when you are writing your answer, make sure you don't forget this word, you know. I know it's not a big mistake, but never mind lah. We just follow LPQB. If they want section 114 illustration G, we just give them 114 illustration G. We don't fight with them. Okay, we just give them 114 illustration G. You must understand, you must prepare an essay for the criminal aspect and also the civil aspect. You yourself open, you see how many times 114 illustration G already repeat as an essay question as well as a problem question. So you cannot take your chance. I'm going into the exam hall without knowing my 114G. Be it for your your problem question or your essay question. Because essay question, if you look at it, the first one they will give you 15 marks. The second one they will give you 10 marks. Here they will give you criminal, here they will give you civil. You get me? If you prepare, this one you can finish in 35 minutes, no issue. It's very simple only. It's very simple, very straightforward. Whatever material that you all have, it will show you already how to do it. But if you don't prepare for 114G, if it comes out as an essay, you will struggle. You will struggle because you don't know the element. You know the law. Plus minus, you know the law. But the elements to be satisfied, you will not know. Whether can I offer criminal case, if I don't offer the witness to the other side, if I never call them, 114G can be invoked or not. Can 114G invoke against an agent provocator? Can 114G be invoked against an informer? Informer got protection. All that is governed under your 114G. So you must know your 114G. Please prepare your essay. Must. Okay. 10. So based on all this, you decide whether adverse inference can be drawn. My answer yes. Conclusion is advised to produce, otherwise 114G can be invoked against the other party. Okay, you must put this in your answer step by step. Okay. Now you go to question 6. You look at question 6a. You look at that, 114b. Your top is 114g. 114b. Question 6a. Can you see? You look at the next line, you look at the next page, question 7, all on presumption. Your 114g, presumption. 114b, presumption. This whole question 7, presumption. Can you see? Your November paper mostly is your presumption question. This question 7, question 7, very long they never ask. They never ask on the issue of presumption, legitimacy, very, very long. But it's a simple question. Even if you don't prepare, you can use the book to answer. This is a very straightforward, simple question. You know, but you must see now the trend, we're changing already. So whatever that you see that they never ask, you think it's an old lad, they never asked already, no more already. No, they are asking, like your presumption. You must take note of your presumption. Okay, can? Okay, the next one that you must prepare essay, must prepare essay is your 114B. Actually, it's 114 illustration B. Okay, look at the question. Section 114 is supposed to be illustration B. 114 illustration B of the Evidence Act provides that the court may presume that an accomplice is unworthy of credit unless his evidence is corroborated in material particular, while Section 1133 of the Evidence Act provides that a conviction is not illegal merely because it proceeds upon the uncorroborated testimony of an accomplice. Explain the contradiction. 10 marks, I think, too low. They should have given you 15 marks for this because got a lot to write. Got a lot to write. 10 marks is too low for this question. But it's a very good question, even though it comes out in an essay form. You know why? Because this kind of question is always there. If they give you an essay now, then you better focus on a problem. But that doesn't mean they will not repeat this question. We will not know. We don't know. So don't take the risk. Please don't take the risk. This one all is your hot area. You must prepare. If you don't prepare, it comes out rugi lah. Okay, let's go to 114B. What is 114B? Okay, first of all, what is presumption? What is presumption? Be it any form of presumption. Okay. Presumption, in simple term, it facilitates the burden of proof. That's all. If there is a presumption that is recognized in law, it facilitates the burden of proof. That's all. That means, let's say there is a presumption here. Presumption that an accomplice is unworthy of credit. If I want to invoke this presumption, I want to tell the court, this accomplice evidence is unworthy of credit. So the evidence must be corroborated. If I want to invoke this presumption, because it's recognized by law, right? I only have to satisfy the basic facts. I just have to show his evidence must be corroborated. That's all. Simple. I don't have to prove. There's a difference between proving and there is a difference between just there is no burden to satisfy a basic facts. Basic facts just falls under here. So the moment you just tell the court his evidence is a bit shaky, need to be corroborated. Court buys your argument, this presumption can be invoked. This presumption, so that means you already say, I cannot, his evidence is unworthy of credit. I cannot trust his evidence. Give other corroborative evidence. Give other form of evidence to corroborate the accomplice's testimony. That means his evidence alone cannot stand alone. There is no stand-alone evidence for the accomplice. That means if the judge want to convict, there must be some form of corroboration. What is corroboration? In simple term, corroboration means supportive evidence. You need other supportive evidence to tilt the evidence in favor of the person. That is your supportive evidence. Okay, can. So back to this question. This question states what? 114B provides that the court may presume that an accomplice is unworthy of credit unless his evidence is corroborated in material particular. So 114 is telling you if an accomplice is giving evidence in court, generally his evidence will not be accepted. Generally, his evidence will not be accepted because his evidence is unworthy of credit. Okay. The other side, 133. What you all can do is, if you want to highlight your statute book, highlight now lah. Easier for you. Okay. The other side, 133 states what? A conviction is not illegal merely because it proceeds upon uncorroborated testimony of an accomplice. So the 133 is telling you what? It's okay. Even without corroboration, evidence of the accomplice can be taken just face value. That means even with one evidence of the accomplice, I can still convict. I don't need corroboration. That is what 133 is telling. So you can see there is a conflict between 114B and 133. So 114B using the word may, right? If you look at it, the court may presume. So this is discretionary, up to the court. The court want, they can use, they don't want, we can fall back to 133. But your work, what you're supposed to do is very simple. Huh? See, this is 10 marks. Like I told you, not enough. Not 10 marks, minimum not enough. But at least I have to give you 15 marks. Your work, my style, I will do like that. I will first explain what the examiner is asking. I explain the question first. Same like how we do, we explain the question first. Now, we address the issue one by one. That means, I will put in my answer, according to section 114, illustration B, it is stated, blah, blah, blah. This one, you can find your answer in your corroboration chapter. This one you can find, I'm not sure what book you all are using, but it should be in your corroboration chapter. Please open your corroboration chapter if you have. Okay, you will have cases like Tan Si Boon, Davis versus PP. You will have cases like Dalit Bhagawan Singh, Tara Singh. You will have this kind of cases. Any other cases that you have also doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It's okay because so many of you are over here. So you will have different material. I will have different material. Correct or not? So whatever is it, doesn't. What you need to know is the concept. What is 114B? What is 133? So first you give what is an accomplice. Who is an accomplice? You can find in the case of Davis versus PP. So why 114B stating that accomplice evidence requires corroboration? What is the rationale? What is the rationale court can presume an accomplice evidence may be unworthy of credit? The rationale can be found in the case of Tan Si Boon. So if you look at Tan Si Boon, an accomplice evidence is to be treated with suspicion as he has an obvious interest in carrying favor with the authorities and he can fabricate the evidence. So that is the purpose why under 114 illustration B they say because accomplice, his position itself is like that, so we cannot trust his evidence. We require additional evidence to corroborate his testimony. Then you see, okay, since you require corroboration, what is the corroboration direction? How will it be for an accomplice? You can go on that part. Next will be your 133. So if you look at 133 of the Evidence Act and what I've explained earlier, very simple. 133 say what? Doesn't matter. Don't need any form of corroboration or whatever. I can just convict the accomplice if I'm of the view the evidence of the accomplice. Sorry, not convict. I can just rely on the evidence of the accomplice and convict the accused if I'm of the view that the evidence of the accomplice is worthy of credit. There is no issue. So you open your 133, you can see that an accomplice is a competent witness against an accused person and a conviction is not illegal. Highlight the word not illegal merely because there is no corroborative evidence of the accomplice. That means that evidence of the accomplice can stand alone, no problem. No need corroborative direction, no need. You understand? No need corroborative evidence. all this, whatever law here under the case of Dalit Bhagwan Singh, everything is in your book. It's just a matter for you to sit down today, if you haven't done this part, to prepare a full answer here for you to keep. Because why? This one will also help you in your problem question. So if you don't prepare, this question come out, you will kalang kabut in your exam. Kalang kabut, what to use, how to use, the direction, how to use, what is corroborative direction. Only when you prepare, you have your own answer, you will be able to see, okay, this is it, this is it, this is it. Can. So I already give you a suggestion. This is how you're supposed to. You can do any other way. Choice is yours. My style, I will do 114B first. Then I use 133. I will explain, oh, this is the conflict. So since there's a conflict, what is the solution? The solution is to get a direction, a corroborative direction. This is the solution. So in conclusion, it is the judge's discretion which one he wants to choose before he can convict. That's all. My answer very simple. Was straight follow LPQB guide. Nothing extra, nothing more. All as per LPQB. And you can find all the cases that I have mentioned in your LPQB guide. I'm sure all of you have the 2025 guide with you. The one that they have sent in March. Correct? By now you all should have it lah. Okay. It's all inside there under your corroborative. If you don't have it, you don't have the book, you don't have the guide, you can also refer to your own notes. I say I don't want to recommend any notes or what at this point of time. You see, if it's much earlier, then I can recommend. At this point of time, I will not recommend any note. Whatever notes that you have is more than enough. You get it. So just use what you have. We have another 3 more weeks for the paper. Correct? So just use what you have. It is more than enough. Okay? Item number 2. Go to question number 2. Question number 2 is on hearsay. Both section 6 and section 32(1)(a) of the Evidence Act are relied on as the exception to the hearsay rule. Upon careful scrutiny of both provisions, however, there are several differences. Discuss the differences. Okay. This one, my suggestion, I will ask you to read Marriott Peter's book. Okay, Yang Arif Marriott Peter's book. I don't know how many of you have it. Okay, if you have it, you can refer to her book. If you don't have her book, then you can refer to other book. But in simple terms, I will explain to you. Okay, this one also, on 32(1)(a) also is a favorite question for your examiner. Favorite. If you look at section 32(1)(a), what is section 32(1)(a)? Simple terms. What is 32(1)(a)? What do you all know about section 32(1)(a) in simple terms? Anyone? Just try lah.
Dying declaration, miss.
Dying declaration, correct? Dying declaration. 32(1)(a) is commonly known as dying declaration. Yes, I agree with you all. This is commonly known as dying declaration. Okay. However, in Malaysia, your 32(1)(a) is actually wider. Your 32(1)(a) is actually wider. Why wider is, please open your 32(1)(a) now. Yes. We look at section 32(1) now. Cases in which statement of relevant fact, but who no chat highlight now. Cases in which statement of relevant fact by person who is dead or cannot be found is relevant. Correct? Cases in which statement of relevant fact by a person who is dead or cannot be found is relevant. Betul? Okay. Statement highlight written or verbal of relevant fact made by a person who is dead or who cannot be found, highlight or who has become incapable of giving evidence or whose attendance cannot be procured without an amount of delay or expense or or expense which under the circumstances of this case appears to the court unreasonable are themselves relevant facts in the following cases. So you see, in order for you to invoke section 32 1A to J, first element you must satisfy is your section 32 1. This is your prerequisite. Forget about the A first, huh? Section 32 1 you must satisfy first. That means you must, if you want to invoke, okay, first thing, what is section 32 1? Why we raise section 32 1? Generally, section 32 1 is an exception to the hearsay rule. Okay. So you invoke section 32 1 if you want to admit hearsay evidence, because as a general rule, hearsay evidence is inadmissible. Why inadmissible? You can see the case of Apple, you can see the case of Cooney, something, where it states that the maker cannot be cross-examined on oath. There is chances of evidence to be fabricated, tampered with. Therefore, generally, evidence, hearsay evidence becomes inadmissible. That is your general rule. Okay. But there is an exception to your hearsay rule, which is one of it is your section 32 1A to J. But you see, you cannot jump. What students always do, you assume 32 1 is satisfied. You assume. You cannot do that, it's wrong. You must satisfy in your exam. Here, never mind, here essay question. But if it's a problem question, you cannot simply jump, because 32 1 is a strict requirement. Why strict requirement? Because hearsay, what? Hearsay is an inadmissible evidence. If I want to admit, I must make sure this one satisfies first. I cannot simply say, oh, confirm satisfied, I assume satisfied. Cannot. You cannot do that. Maybe in court you can do, here cannot. Okay. So here you must satisfy this thing. What you can do, so the first one is the person is dead, cannot be found, unreasonable to procure his attendance, blah, blah, blah. You just have to satisfy one only. Only one you have to satisfy. This one I'm not telling you. The case of Sim Thu B. Sim Thu B. Sim Thu B states that in order for you to invoke the exception, this is a strict prerequisite. Section 32 1 is a strict prerequisite. If you fail to satisfy section 32 1, you cannot go to the exception under A to J. Especially if you check your subsection B, the one that cause of ordinary business, he has personal knowledge, no personal knowledge, you want to admit. Look at the case of Tempel Perkakas. Look at the case for subsection B I'm talking about, where just because you're out of jurisdiction, the court say that just because someone is out of jurisdiction, you cannot invoke section 32. You must show reasonable efforts to locate the maker. If you don't show reasonable effort to locate the maker, then you cannot say that he's far away, delay will be caused to locate him. Therefore, I want to go under the exception. Cannot, because you, as the person who want to tender the document, you never satisfy the requirement. You never show effort has been made to locate the maker. When you never show, you cannot invoke. You can read the case, Tempel Perkakas, Borneo Hold, if you have that cases with you. Tempel Perkakas should be there. Okay. So similarly, for your 32 1A, normally 32 1A, it is easy because why? You just have to show the person is dead. Correct. So the moment you show this, you can invoke 32 1. So easy, if your question is 32 1A problem question, very easy for you because you just have to satisfy here. Your difficulty will be your sub B, sub I, sub J. That is where you have to make sure it is clear. Make sure it is clear. If it is not clear, then don't push it, don't say, no, I assume or whatever. Don't. Just say cannot be satisfied, so cannot be tendered. Then you go to the other provision, 73A. That is what they want you to do. You understand? Especially if it's a document, they want you to tender under 73A. Civil cases. So if you know 32(1)(b), I cannot satisfy. Let's say I cannot satisfy because of that the prerequisite, sim to be prerequisite, or section 32(1)(b), I cannot satisfy because of no personal knowledge. Don't push it to assume in your exam paper there is personal knowledge. I want to admit under 32(1)(b). Don't do that, because what they want you to tell is, okay, cannot, I dispense it, so I go under 73A, I admit under 73A. That is what they want you to do. So that is why you see your hearsay question, especially your 32(1)(b) and 73A, that area of law, they give you marks around 10 marks to 15 marks. Why? Why they give you this much? Because they want you to do the contrast. If I cannot admit here, I go under the 73A and admit. In 73A, you have a lot of requirements: 73A1, 73A2, 73A4, 73A5, 73A6. You see, so you have to go one. That is why the 15 marks allocated. That is why the 10 marks is allocated. So if you push it under your 32(1)(b), then whatever that already there for your 73A, you will not be getting the marks for that. Understand? So please be very careful when you want to admit hearsay evidence. If cannot, 32(1) cannot, just forget it and then move on. Don't say can, maybe, all that do one. Okay? So applying this, you see 32(1)(a) under sim QB must be satisfied. Okay, once satisfied, we go under, based on this question, is 32(1)(a). Let's look at A. When the statement is made by a person as to the cause of death. When the statement is made by a person as to the cause of death, or as to the circumstances of transaction. Which resulted into his death. That's why I asked you all to read Mary Peter's book, because she explained really well on this, to how it works, how section 6 works on this. Don't worry, you can refer the rest of the book also, no issue. Okay, so you see, what does it mean? Your dying declaration, okay, actually is here. Remember, so your common law dying declaration, normally you say, what, A did this to me, cause of death. But your 32(1)(a), your Malaysia one, is slightly wider. They recognize another one, circumstances of transaction which resulted into his death, slightly wider. Do you have the case of Yeo Hock Cheng with you all? How many of you don't have Yeo Hock Cheng with you? Who don't have Yeo Hock Cheng? Okay, can you all see? Can you see Pakala Narayana Swami? The next case is Yeo Hock Cheng. Those who don't have it, okay. To refer to Yeo Hock Cheng, you can see the deceased was alleged to have been murdered on the 14th of March 1937. She had made two statements. The first statement was made to her father on the 5th of March, where she denied sleeping at the accused's house on the 28th of February because the accused had threatened to kill her if she did say so. It was held that this statement was inadmissible as it was too remote to form part of the transaction. She made two statements, correct? So they say the statement to the father is too remote. Okay, taking into account the length, it is too remote to form part of the transaction which resulted into her death. Look at the second one. The second statement was made to her sister on the 14th of March on the evening of her death that she was going out with the accused who told her to wear a man's clothing. Okay? It was held to be admissible, that means this statement that she told to her sister on the 14th of March at the evening of her murder, held to be admissible as it formed part of the transaction which resulted into the death. Can you see? So the second statement that she told the sister, which is on the night of the murder, they allowed to be this one. That is not cause of death. That is not your dying declaration. That is a statement which they admit because they say it is your circumstances of transaction which resulted into your death. So your Hock Cheng is one classic example for the second part. So that is why if you look at Married Peter's book, Married Peter, she will explain this thing in detail. That is why I'm telling that the marks allocated tak cukup. You know, it should be slightly, a little bit more. You know, this is 10 marks, right? Here. Oh, this is 15. Oh, this is fine. This is fine. So if you look at her book, she'll explain in detail why it can be done. So she'll say this is under your UK law, this is your England law, common law. So this one, Malaysia, is slightly wider. So this is how you have to look. So the first thing you need to take note, your 32(1)(a), there is first link, there is second link. Okay, normally students will ask me this question. If I don't leave this essay question, if it's a problem question, if I don't state clearly, that means first link or second link, will the examiner penalize me? Okay, for me, I don't think so. The examiner will penalize you if you don't state clearly. But there's 1 year question, I cannot remember, 2017 November or which year, maybe November 2017 or 2017, right? We did one yesterday.
Yesterday, 2017.
2017. November 2017 paper, if you check, they ask you purely on this part. What is the diff? I think 10 marks or 15 marks question. They ask you on this. Okay, they give you a scenario, they ask you the difference between these. It's a problem question, you know, they ask you on this thing. You can use section 6 also, no problem, no issue. But what I want you to take note is that 2017, I think like when 8 years back or 7 years back from you all, right? Now taking into account, they did ask this type of question, you know. So you may want to look at that question, how it's asked, and also you will know, okay, there is this variation also. They also ask this type of question. If it's your normal, now they are giving you your 2019 onwards. If you don't specify which link, I personally don't think so. There's an issue. I personally don't, but I'm not sure because if you look at the what they call the statute book itself, they already use the term or. You get me? And if you look at the guide or whatever, they also tell you, okay, your Hock Cheng, this is how it's decided. If you look at Pakala Narayana Swami, go back to Pakala Narayana Swami, it's there in the photo that I've taken, it is there. So if you look at Pakala Narayana Swami, the deceased person told his wife that he was going to the house of the accused to meet the accused wife, right? It was held the statement was admissible under section 32(1)(a). You see, admissible under 32(1)(a) as it related to some of the circumstances of the transaction which resulted in his death as the deceased was killed at the spot where he was proceeding to. Lord Atkins said that the statement made by the deceased that he was proceeding to the spot where he was in fact killed, or as to his reasons for so proceeding, or that he was going to meet a particular person or that he have been invited by such person to meet him, would each of them be circumstances of transaction, whether or not that person was unknown or the accused person. Such statement might even be exculpatory of the accused. See, even this case also recognize the second link. Correct. Even this case also recognize the second link. Section 32(1)(a) is narrower than res geste. So if you look at your res geste, what is res geste? Res geste, the term actually is common law. Okay, the term is common law one. Here in Malaysia, we known as section 6. Okay, this one also, if you have Merit Peter's book, yang Arif Merit Peter's book, she will explain to you. Her view is a little bit different. She given you the explanation over there. Why it is different, how is it different and all. So here we look at it as section 6, circumstances of transaction which resulted into, circumstances of transaction, so facts forming part of the same transaction. That is your section 6. Okay, so if you ask me section 6, it is wider, but you must satisfy the case of Tawan Hadin. I'm sure you have section 6 with you all and the case of Tawan, no matter whatever book that you all are using. I'm sure Tawan Hadin will be with you. So if you look at Tawan Hadin's case, Tawan Hadin will explain to you on proximity of time, proximity of place, proximity of the occurrence of the event. You know, so you must use this for this question under 32(1)(a) as well as your section 6 to tell how it is related. You can use cases like cock holding. You can use cases like, let me see what else. Cock holding, threaten, and truce if you want to explain. Okay, but for me, if you ask me, the discussion should be more on 32(1)(a) because you know more on 32(1)(a). 32(1)(a) you must know. Section 6, you limit your discussion. You just say it's wide for you to play. I just giving you a way for you to play the safe game. You know, don't go so much on res geste. Go on 32(1)(a), section 6, explain what is section 6 and give your conclusion. Because 32(1)(a) you got a lot to write. Because you have a template ready. Section 6, you don't have much to write. Unless you follow Merit Peter. I'm not sure about the rest of the book. What I know, what I've seen is Merit Peter's book. She have given quite a detailed discussion on section 6 and section 32(1)(a). So for me, I recommend Young Arif Merit Peter's book because it's there. It's there. If you don't have it now, don't bother, don't worry. 3 weeks only, just concentrate based on what you have. But this one, the 32(1)(a), you must know, by heart you must know already. You know why I'm telling you. This question may not repeat again. This question may not repeat, but they will give you a 32(1)(a), just throw like that. So you must know how to use your remoteness test. That's not I gave you, you must know how to use this. So all that requirement you must be able to satisfy. You must know SimTUB. You must know how to go to 32(1)(a), how to apply and how to dismiss. Can? Alright. So this is one of the way that you have to do. So this one you must prepare. Normally I don't give full answer. Okay. Can? Okay. Question 7. Before we go to question 7, I give you all a 5 minutes break. Please come back in 5 minutes. Okay. Okay. Last question. Question 7. Donald and Daisy had their marriage solemnized on the 8th of August 2018 at 3 p.m. Donald had a 12-year-old son, Marvin, from his previous marriage to Mona. Consider the following situations separately and independently with reference to the presumption that may be found in the Evidence Act and relevant case law. So you see again, look at the marks allocated, 8, 7, 5, 5. Correct? Very simple, very straightforward question. Don't overdo it. Please don't overdo it. 8 marks, 7 marks, 5 marks, 5 marks. See, when they give you this kind of question, problem is if you don't prepare for presumption, then you cannot do. Because this one is specific presumption. But let's say you touch and this question, you touch and go your presumption. Maybe you don't know case law, but you touch and go You know, okay, it's 107, 112, 108, 113, 109. You touch and go this provision also. With this statute book, you can do. Definitely you can do the question. Only thing, you may not have the case to support you. That's all. Because I think it's a very straightforward question. You know, this question this question is a very straightforward question if you ask me. How many of you attempted this question earlier, even before coming to the class? Is it okay for you? Yash?
Briefly, miss.
Briefly, but okay, can do, right?
Yeah,
Plus
can.
minus, not too bad.
Yeah.
Correct? So, okay, this question, if you ask me, it's okay. So let's go to question A. Daisy, pregnant with twins, conceived before marriage, went into labor while Donald arranged for a marriage registrar to be on standby in the labor room. She gave birth to baby X, a girl, at 2:30 p.m. Donald insisted on proceeding with the marriage registration immediately, which was solemnized at 3 p.m. Daisy then gave birth to a boy, baby Y, at 3:20 p.m. Advice on the legitimacy and paternity of baby X and baby Y. Okay, simple, simple question. Okay, you only need to quote one provision, and I don't know why so much of marks allocated for this. Okay, only one provision. You just need to quote. What provision is it? What is it you quoted? Yeah, Yash.
Section 112.
112, correct. So please look at section 112. Please look at section 112. This. The fact that any person was born during the continuance of a valid marriage between his mother and any man, or within 280 days after its dissolution, the mother remaining unmarried, shall be conclusive proof that he is the legitimate son of that man, unless it can be shown that the parties to the marriage had no access to each other. Okay? Marriage took place when? 2:30 p.m. Just take the same day, 2:30 p.m. correct? On the same day, 8 August 2018. Okay. Before that, sorry, not 2:30 p.m. She gave birth to baby X at 2:30 p.m. Donald insisted on proceeding with the marriage registration immediately, which was solemnized at 3 p.m. So 3 p.m. they got married. Correct? 3 p.m. they got married. Daisy then gave birth to baby Y. So applying section 112. Okay, baby X is legitimate or illegitimate? Just 112 only, no, nothing else. Baby XX. Baby X was born before the solemnization of the marriage. Correct?
Legitimate.
Illegitimate. Right? Baby Y? After the solemnization of the marriage.
Legitimate.
Legitimate. Correct. Actually, that's all. So the father, the paternity will be for baby Y. This provision, if you ask me, it's quite old now, still there. Then you can also, if you have any cases, you can add on. Okay, you see, you must understand, if you only have your statute book in your exam, you never prepare. Okay, let's say you never prepare. You must find a way, how am I going to use my statute book to answer? You must find a way. You get me? So this is one question where you can use your statute book to answer the question. I said, don't worry about the other thing. Don't worry about, have I written so much? Just answer the question. Please answer the question. So do it in paragraph about baby X and then about baby Y. Then explain, legitimate, illegitimate. Should I given the answer already? So why 8 marks? I don't know. Actually, should be 5 marks answer. Be very frank with you, should be only a 5 marks answer. If you have cases, I don't have cases. Okay, I have 1 or 2, but I don't want to give because not in your LPQB guide. So I don't want to give. If you have the cases with you, then you can use if you want to use. But just take note, if this thing comes in your exam, what will you do? If you prepare, okay. If you never prepare, don't worry, like what she said, you have your statute book. Use your statute book. Okay, now go to the second one, B. Daisy wanted to have her father's property divided according to the law. Her father, Gomo, went missing in 2015. 2015 went missing. Now is November 2024. 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024. Correct? 9 years. Okay. What she wants to do, advise Daisy on how she could deal with her father's absence before dealing with the division of her father's property. Correct? So you are to, and now she wants the father's property, correct? What should she do? Father is not there for 9 years already. So you may want to invoke one presumption. What is it? Presumption of what? Sorry?
Presumption of death.
Section, correct, 108. Section 108. Okay, if you have the cases with you, up to you, Rimutu, Rigan, Suntin, or whatever. So what is presumption of death? Go to section 108. When the question whether a man is alive or dead, and it is proof that he has not been heard for 7 years by those who would naturally have heard of him, if he had been alive, the burden of proving that he is alive shifted to the person who affirms it. Daisy is the daughter, correct? So Daisy will be one of the person who definitely will be the natural person who have heard about the father. Okay, some of you put 108 read together with section 107 of the Evidence Act. That one also up to you. Can your wish, your wish. Okay, you want to put one inside 108 read together with 107, then you want to give your case, also can, your wish. I cannot tell wrong. But the answer is 108. This is how you have to do it. The cases that I have, Rimutu Tambi, Rigan Sunti, LPQB guide. Okay, LPQB guide, you can get all the cases from there. So you satisfy the requirement. Now you have given me the law already. Rimutu, Rigan, all the law, right? On the facts, satisfy. On the facts, Daisy is who's the father, Gomo's daughter. So she will be the natural person who would have heard about him. Hence, applying section 108, the presumption of death can be invoked. Once this is done, then the distribution of the father's property can be done according to the law. Don't go on letters of administration. Don't say, don't take grant of probate. No need. All this. That's why you answer the question. Many students, what you all do, you look at the marks, When you look at the marks, you say 7 marks, 8 marks. I must put more. You see, the moment, I just give you an example, the moment you go extra, you won't say, Daisy is advised to apply for grant of probate. How you know grant of probate? Maybe no will, correct? Or maybe you say apply for LA. How you know no apply for LA? You understand? So don't add. The question is advise Daisy on how she should deal with the father's absence before dealing with the division of her father's property. Correct? How first thing the father cannot be found, right? So invoke the presumption. This is what? Satisfy the thing using the Bilak rule, application, conclusion. Follow your answer, application. Finished. Very easy, your examiner also will mark you. The moment you add on, that's where instead of giving you 6/7 or whatever marks the 5/7, your examiner will cut you and give you 4/8, 4/7, 3. Why no? You confuse the whole thing. You confuse, then you come out from the exam hall, and when you get your paper, you will tell that I did the same thing, I don't know why I failed. You fail because you overwrite, not because you don't know. You get me? So just write what is required. Okay, the next one is Donald. Donald's stepson, Marvin, was arrested for rape of his 11-year-old neighbor, Lulu. The prosecution is considering framing a charge against Marvin. Question is asking you, advise Donald on how Marvin's matter should be dealt with. Correct? Again, based on the facts or in advising Donald on how Marvin's matter should be dealt with, just follow what your examiner has given you. Or the question requires to advise Donald on how Marvin's issue should be considered. That is the issue, correct? Then put your law inside. So what is the law? How are you going to advise Donald? What do you put? Those the newcomers. You want to check your answer? Yeah, Yash? What do you put?
113.
Correct. 113, presumption of incapacity. Correct. So telling what? Anyone? Okay, yeah, you all please turn to 113. 113. Presumption that boy under the age of 13 cannot commit rape. Where's the yes, just add on 4 sub 3. 4 sub 3 is an irrebuttable presumption. Okay. Same go to 113. So you can see it shall be an irrebuttable presumption of law that a boy under the age of 13 is incapable of committing rape. Irrebuttable, no, that means cannot rebut. Okay, irrebuttable presumption. Okay, one more thing, don't argue, don't say, oh, this is incorrect or whatever. Yes, incorrect, I agree with you, but you don't argue with your examiner. Please, why I'm sharing this with you all? Because my class like this one, okay? Many students, what they do is, they want to tell, no, this one is not inaccurate. I also know inaccurate, but this is not our job. It is Parliament's job. So we just follow the law, apply on the facts. Okay, so Donald is advised in invoking the presumption under 113 of the Evidence Act, which will state what? His son, Donald, what's his name? Marvin is a person who is incapable of committing rape as he is below 13 years old. Full stop. Full stop. Don't add on anything extra. No need, no need. You don't need. You know why? On first thing, only 5 marks. Okay. Second thing, this is the answer. Okay. Third thing, apply, give your conclusion. That's all. Okay. I don't have cases. If you have any cases, you can add on to it. I don't have any cases. From the material that I have, I don't have it. But if you have, I think you can. Some of you also put the thing of dolly, incapax, or what. All that your choice. No issue. Up to you. For me, this is the answer. This is what they are looking for. You just give this and anything extra, you do, as long you don't mess up your first correct answer, you can put. If you have the time, you can put. You'll get your marks. They will give you 4/5, and then you can get your pass and one. Okay. Subsection D, Donald had a property that he had rented out to Jerry. Although there was no tenancy agreement, Jerry had paid a monthly amount of 1,000, which he had credited directly into Donald's account. Donald has now discovered that the property has been damaged and wants Jerry to pay for it. Jerry refuses, advised Donald on how he should first establish Jerry's tenancy. There is no written agreement between them, correct? But there's one thing. Every month, 1,000 ringgit is being paid to the account. So now you must do what? You have to advise Donald, right? Question, advise Donald on how he should first establish Jerry's tenancy. So in the Evidence Act, there is a presumption to establish there is a relationship between the parties. That's all they're asking you, right? So just only give the presumption. What is it, Yash? What provision?
109.
Section 109. So go to section 109. Burden of proof as to the relationship in cases of partners, landlord and tenant, principal and agent. When the question is whether persons are partners, landlord and tenant, or principal and agent, and it has been shown that they have been acting as such, the burden of proving they do not stand or have ceased to stand to each other in those relationships respectively is on the person who affirms it. So if you look at the first part, they already recognize there is a relationship. There is a presumption. Just quote the presumption, enough. Just quote the presumption and tell that since Donald is based on the facts, Donald is advised to invoke or to rely on section 101, which states that blah, 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 blah. Okay, applying this, although there is no written agreement between the parties, there is a presumption recognized in law to create a tendency between the parties. Finish, full stop, answer the question. You given the law, you given the application, you given the conclusion. Finish. That's it. The extra you write, more than this that you write, you damage your answer. That's all I will tell. The whole thing you will damage. What you all must understand one thing, huh? Don't think the more you write, the more marks will be allocated. No, it's not like that. You must write the correct thing. You must write the correct thing. Okay? If you write, and evidence is still okay. For civil paper, okay, I think I only will be doing with you at the end for the civil paper. Civil paper, please make sure that you quote your correct provision in the statute. Must. You cannot just simply, civil, let's say for JID. You know it's JID, for judgment in default of appearance. You cannot simply say order 13. Order 13, which rule? Rule 1, rule 2, rule 3, rule 4, rule 5, rule 6. You must specify. The moment you specify, don't forget your procedure. After your procedure finish, application conclusion. You start writing like your LLB means, that's it. That's where you fail. Because why? You are telling examiner you don't know. So I give you everything lah. You check, you choose which one is right. Which you cannot do that because you must treat yourself as a lawyer. When you submit something, you must treat yourself as a lawyer. So you can only submit based on the facts, right? Correct or not? Exactly the same. Your CLP is exactly the same. That's why your rules of court, your statute, you must know in and out. Most of the time, your civil paper, without your case laws, with your statute, you can answer. If you can quote the correct statute, is enough. Okay? Can? Alright, any question?